my channel. So for today's video, I posted a while back a doll and doll repaint supply haul where I bought a bunch of stuff off Aliexpress and I bought a bunch of like Obitsu bodies, and I have been wanting to customize a combination of one of my Aliexpress heads and one of my Obitsu bodies for like months. Like I've just been like, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it, but I just kept getting held up by other projects. Today's the day, y'all. Let's customize one of these babies. So I've actually gotten like more and more into other doll lines, like fashion doll lines that aren't necessarily Monster High and Ever After High. While I still love those doll lines, I've just customized a lot of those doll lines. There's also things aesthetically that I'm not crazy about both doll lines, and I feel like this combination, like of the AliExpress head and the Obitsu body, are kind of more my aesthetic for just figures and faces and stuff. One of my favorite things during quarantine has actually been buying like really weird obscure heads on eBay. I will link the specific seller that sells them. They just sell like just dolls where I'm like, what is this? Where did this come from? They also sell defect sculpts, which I don't know why. I mean, I guess I know why people, like, if you want to see some horrifying shit, just go look at some defect sculpts. They're terrifying. I'll link where I get Obitsu bodies down below. I get them from pairbox.com. It's pretty much the cheapest website that I've been able to find Obitsu bodies on. I will also link this head down below if you guys are interested in getting one. I think this is a Daiso doll head. I'm not entirely sure though. The only reason why I think that is because I believe I saw a Korean YouTuber repainted one and they said it was a Daiso doll head. So I think they were Korean. I'm like not entirely sure with anything about this head aside from it's on AliExpress. Since I don't have to do anything to prep this doll, we're just gonna get right into the repaint. I spray the doll 3 times with Mr. Super Clear, letting it dry for 15 minutes between each spray, and wearing a respirator mask, and then we just get into the drawing. Early on into my repainting journey, I kind of decided that I didn't like dolls that didn't have molded on eyes, and I've actually come to realize with this doll that I don't really care anymore. Like, I love how this doll turned out. Like, let me just say right now, this is my favorite face up I've ever done. And I think one of the reasons why I love how this doll turned out is because I love how her eyes turned out. And I think one of the reasons why I love how her eyes turned out is because I was drawing them on a flat surface. And I wasn't, normally when a doll has very like molded on eyes, I know that you can draw outside of the mold. You can definitely do that, and a lot of people do that, but I'm someone who tends to be inspired or influenced by whatever the mold is on the doll. With this, I wasn't really inspired or influenced by anything with her eyes, so they're just how I like to draw eyes and how I think eyes are pretty, and I think that that's why I like them so much. Another aspect to this mold that I really like is that it has like a slightly open mouth, and normally when dolls have like open mouths, they have just one set of teeth. But this doll actually has both, like it has the top and the bottom teeth, which I thought was just like really cool and unique, and it's a very like subtle detail that you probably wouldn't be able to notice unless you were staring at the face, but it looks really good. And if this is a Daiso doll head, like damn Daiso, that's some detail right there, seriously. And for those of you guys who don't know, Daiso is just like, it's basically like a Japanese dollar store. I think some things might be more than $1, but only like slightly more than $1. It's just a really inexpensive store. I blush her face with pinks, purples, and reds like I normally do, but I think I held myself back a little bit with this custom. Normally I like to kind of give my dolls skin-like skin almost to a degree where it looks flawed. But with this doll, I just kind of held it back a little bit. She's still a little blotchy, like she still has maybe some skin issues, but maybe not as much as my other dolls. With a dark brown pastel, I begin adding shading around all of the features of the face, so the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. add veins around the eyes and the forehead with a sharp light blue watercolor pencil. This blue is, it's not very pigmented, which would normally be like not great, but for this specific like thing that I'm doing with it, it actually works perfectly because you don't want veins to be too pigmented. You want them to look like they're underneath the skin. So I find that this specific watercolor pencil, which is a Faber-Castell watercolor pencil, I got it in like their 24 pack, I think, it works perfectly for this. Also, I'm sorry you guys, like my head is like extra in the way with this footage, and it's because I bought a new tripod and I'm using it for the first time during this face up, and I fix it in a little bit, but it's annoying. It keeps zooming in, like magnify. I wear magnifying glasses on my head, by the way, when I do face ups. I mentioned this a couple times, but it's magnifying my hand, and that's not cute. You can see all my weird wrinkles and stuff. I don't like it. With an even lighter blue, light blue pencil, I gave her very, very, very light blue eyes. An effect that I've been really liking lately is taking a Q-tip and applying pastels to the middle of the mouth. I feel like it just makes the lips look, I guess, more luscious. If you guys want to get a more opaque application of pastels, I recommend using a Q-tip. At this stage, I'm adding more intense highlights and contours around the face with pencils. So I'm adding like whites on the middle of the eye, the inner corner, also the upper lip, and then I'm also going in with like a dark brown colored pencil, and I'm basically adding lines to the eyelid so that they look more defined. I like adding macro Pearl-X powder all over the face because it gives the face a really like sparkly quality, but it also gives the face a little bit more texture to it, which I think looks skin-like. For the pupils, I went in with black pastel and I just created a little dot with a Q-tip there. And then after that, I went in with blue Pearl-X pigment and I went on top of the black. And I feel like this gives the eyes sort of like a misty, sparkly quality. Basically, any of the Pearl-X pigments look good on top of black. I mean, black anything, black paint, black pastels. It just sort of accentuates or makes the pigment of the Pearl-X pigments more pigmented, if that makes sense. For the brows, I originally went in with auburn paint, but I decided that I thought the intensity of the eyes and the eyebrows didn't really match, so I went back in and darkened them up with brown watercolors. This is a rose gold Derwent metallic watercolor pencil. I like adding lines of this to the lips because it just makes them look shiny and more wet looking. To make the waterline appear wet, I add dots of white and rose gold paint to the waterline. I gloss her lips with Vallejo gloss varnish, and her face up is actually done. I love how it turned out. Let me know what you guys think about it. And these heads are seriously like $1 to $3 max, I believe, on Aliexpress. I need to get more of them. I'm kind of obsessed. I was thinking about keeping her beautiful bald head bald, but we're gonna give her some hair. So I take this peach yarn and I just cut it very chaotically into random strands. Some people are so like, they get like each one is the same exact size. I'm not one of those people. And then I tie it to this scarf holder that is shaped like brass knuckles. Yep, that's what it is. And then I brush it out with a cat brush. Once all the hair is brushed out, I go in with a chopstick that I heat up with my straightener and I curl just tons of yarn hair. I curled so much and I didn't need to curl all that and I just had like yarn left over. It took so long. A little heads up about curling yarn hair that I didn't pick up until recently is when you're done curling it, I would spray it with like hairspray or something, because I actually had to go back in and recurl this doll's hair. And I've had to recurl other dolls' hair, and I believe it's because like there's just nothing, like the curl falls out, which I don't know, I didn't think it would with yarn because it's not real hair, but like I guess it does. Taking Elmer's glue, I create wefts because I'm actually going to be gluing this yarn onto the head and not rerooting. I feel like I've never done that on this channel. I just always reroot hair. Once the glue is all dry, I peel them off and cut them down so that you can't see like all the weird clear bits, and it looks more like a normal hair weft. I glue the hair to the head with Elmer's glue all. Unfortunately, the footage of me gluing this hair to the head is kind of complete booty hole, so I'm going to link Mozekyto's video of how to like create hair wefts and glue them to a head down below. It's basically like how everybody learns how to glue hair to a head and make yarn wefts and everything. So yeah, I'll link that down there. This is her finished hair, and after all that hard work, my husband said that she looks like Miss Frizzle, which is just rude. Since this is my first Obitsu body that I'm making clothes for, I had to make a pattern. And generally when you're making a pattern, I just kind of like trace over the doll and I get some really like rough measurements. At this point, I've kind of made so much doll clothes that I kind of know like the general shape for like a skirt or a top or whatever. So yeah, I just like sketch out their size by tracing over them, and then I add a seam allowance. If you guys want, I don't know why anybody would want this, but if y'all want this, you want me to do like a doll clothes video, I can do that, but I don't know why. I don't know what I'm talking about with doll clothes. I don't know. Maybe like beginners, like it would be like extra layman's terms or something. But anyway, I basically hem everything. So like the neckline, the skirt, the sleeves, all of it. I gather stitch the top of the skirt so it has a bit of like a ruffly quality where the top and the bottom connect. I sew the front and the back of the top together at the shoulders. With some peach lace, I'm adding a collar to the neckline of the top. By the way, I probably should have mentioned this a little bit ago, but this doll is going to be Lolita inspired. I just wanted this doll to be basically everything that I think is pretty, and I think if, like Lolita is a style that I'm very drawn to, but it's a style that I don't think I'd ever have the balls to wear, but I think it's beautiful. So I wanted to use like my favorite fabric that I own, and I basically just wanted to use everything that was like my favorite for this doll. Since I like the doll's head and the doll's body so much, I just wanted her to be basically everything that I like aesthetically. Anyway, back onto sewing, I'm gather stitching a lace trim for her sleeve. I'm then gather stitching the top of her sleeve. I'm doing this so that the sleeve has a bit of a more poofy quality. We are then sewing the sleeve to the top, and then after that we are sewing up the side seam. We're so close to being done this outfit. So I sew the top of the dress to the bottom. And with that, her dress is basically done. I'm also gonna add some more lace because I like me some lace, but like the structure is basically done. It needed a bit more poofiness, so I took some pink lace. I have so much pink lace, and I just basically made a skirt out of it and put it underneath the dress. Now onto her bonnet. That's right, she's getting a bonnet. Like halfway through this, I was like, she needs a bonnet. So I looked up bonnet pattern, which by the way, if you're ever confused and you don't know like a pattern for something and you don't feel like buying one, a very good like way to get a pattern is by Googling whatever it is pattern. And normally something will come up and you can kind of figure it out. I gather stitch to the front of the bonnet to give it that like bonnet poofy quality. I then gather stitched some lace so that I could sew that to the front of the brim of the bonnet. Listen, sewing is like so much of gather stitching. Like so much of it is gather stitching. If y'all don't know how to sew, just look up like basics is like sewing stuff together, hemming stuff, and gather stitching. The fabric of the bonnet kept pulling her hair and messing it up, so I sewed some of this peachy fabric on the inside. tie together her bonnet, I sewed some ribbon onto the front of the bonnet. I think when I was like looking up bonnets, I think sometimes they're on the front and then sometimes they're like more towards the back of the bonnet, but I thought that would look weird, so I sewed it on the front. I noticed that at times Lolitas wear aprons and I was like, I want to make a cute apron. So I cut some lace fabric and then I gather stitched it at the top to cover up the thread at the top and also to tie the apron in the back. I hot glued some ribbon onto the top. To make the dress a little bit more fancy, I hot glued a heart up near the collar. I also add a bit of that lace that we used for the apron underneath the dress. To make it appear like the doll has buttons on the back of her dress, I hot glued pearls onto the back of the top of the dress. Alright, let's talk about these stockings. So I went to my local fabric store and I looked for teal fishnet and they just didn't have it. So I went on Amazon and I typed in teal fishnet and I ordered some and they sent me these super thick, hideous blue fishnets. So I was like, you know what, let's try it. Maybe it'll be cute. So I sewed it together and it was hideous as expected. So sometimes you gotta work with what you have. I wanted it to be a little bit more, like I wanted to add a bit more of that like tealy green quality that the dress has to the overall look, but I don't know, I'm not about to order some more hideous fishnets in the mail. So I made her some stockings out of like this stretchy pink lace that I have. And here they are in all their frumpy glory, like honestly disgusting. So I'm really glad I redid them, but it's a waste of $8. Now on to shoes. So Wild Hearts Crew shoes, in case anybody was wondering, fit Obitsu dolls, but all the Wild Hearts Crew shoes that I have are like Vans and sneakers, and I didn't really think that would go with this outfit, so I decided to make some shoes. So I hemmed the opening of the shoe fabric and then I sewed it together at the back. Then I sewed it good side to the sole of the shoes, flipped it out, and I made some little flats. If you guys were looking for like a way to make really easy shoes, these are about as easy as it gets in my opinion. Like, once I figured out how to make them, I made them super fast. I decorated them with a little bow that I made out of ribbon, and I put a pearl on top of it, and then I painted the soles of the shoes green. I blushed the body with the same tones that I used on the face, so pinks and blues and mauves and browns. And I just really love how her body turned out. Probably, like, it's probably my favorite body blushing I've ever done, but that's probably because I really like the anatomy of these Obitsu bodies. I had to go back through and recurl her hair a little bit, but once I did that, this is basically her finished ensemble. Like I already mentioned in this video, this is actually just, I don't know, it's my favorite face up, it's my favorite body blushing. I really like how the dress turned out. I just really enjoy how this doll turned out. Let me know what you guys think about her. And if you guys want to put together a doll that's similar to this, I will link the Aliexpress head that I bought and also where I get Obitsu things down below in the description box. I will also have linked down there where I get my strange heads from on eBay if you guys want to see some strange heads and also some really cute heads. But yeah, like this video if you like this video, subscribe, it makes me happy, and I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Bye!